Hello everyone, in this short video I want to show you how to replace the original wheel stand of the Dofreality P3 motion platform with a more sturdier wheel stand based on aluminium profiles. So how from getting from this to what you see now on the platform here. So if we take a closer look how this new wheel stand looks like, you see it's a fairly simple construction, and I want to show you first how the build was done, maybe some do's and don'ts regarding the construction so that you can learn from my sufferings I had while I was setting this up. And also at the end a typical order list that you would need to build this. So first, regarding the main design of this new wheel stand, I basically took the design template that you can find on Swedish rig design, but you could also look at any other designs, and basically picked the necessary aluminium profiles based on that design. It's a fairly simple one. You see there is a side frame profiles here and here, and then for putting the wheelbase itself on it, there is a top frame basically built on four aluminium profiles. So first, for the attachment of this new wheel stand, it's a bit difficult if you don't want to destroy some elements of the original platform. So as you can see here, let's see that this is sharp. There is an angle here and it's pretty small. It's only, I think, 20 millimeters to 20 millimeters here. But the profiles that you should use should be at least 30 millimeters version. You could even go with a 40 millimeters so to have an even more sturdier wheel stand. So I went for the 30 millimeter version, as you can see here. For fixing or mounting this construction on the original base frame of the P3, you need some form of an adapter element. That's this piece here. You could either use a standard aluminium profile or like here I used steel-based pieces. So my original one was actually done with an aluminium profile piece, but that wasn't really strong enough, because if you tighten these screws here, it tends to bend or to squeeze an aluminium profile. So if this is made from steel, that's really more sturdier, and you can do a stronger fixation with this. The side frame itself, that's a standard aluminium 60 to 30 millimeters version. I used, I think the height of this thing is around 540 millimeters. That should be basically enough to position for positioning the wheelbase itself on an appropriate height. So you see I could even go a little higher, like here. In my case, as I have a triple screen setup, as you can see here, I wanted to put this as close as possible to the screens, but the screen itself I want to position in a height where I actually see some of the dashboard or of the cockpit itself. So actually the screens should be even a bit lower than that. On the other side, the wheelbase itself should be a little bit higher to have a natural position of the wheel as it would be in a real race car. So this is kind of a compromise. So I put the wheel a little bit lower, the screens a little bit higher. So you see it's pretty close to the screen. So anyways, 540, that's certainly enough for every height you possibly want to have. So for the fixation of the upper frame, where you actually put the wheelbase on it, a fairly simple construction. You have these two aluminium elements here, and for the upper part, 2 elements here. These the side parts are fixed to this upper frame with you see here 1, 2, 3 angle elements. First I only did it with 2, but that's not really strong enough, so when you're driving it tends to lower. So even if you tighten it very strongly, after a while of driving it tends to go down a bit, so you lose that angle here. So what I did is I used an additional angle on the side to make this a bit more stable. For the fixation, so in my case I have a podium DD2. The fixation of the wheelbase itself is fairly simple. I just added additional angles like here with the M6mm screws, so I could attach the wheelbase itself. You also could use actually a construction where you use the side fixation of the podium. I mean, that's up to you to decide. I think this is probably the most simple solution for this. And as you can see, I also replaced the shifter mount also with an additional 30 to 30mm aluminium profile. Okay, then we want to check what elements do you actually need to build this. I can show you here. So it's fairly simple. You need these aluminium profiles here. For this one, it's important that you use the exact length so that it fits in on the original P3 platform. So what I did, I measured the distance from here to here. That would be around 487mm, and that's exactly the length I ordered, so that I don't have to cut them myself. I mean, you could do that, but for me I was too lazy to do that by myself, so I ordered all these 30 to 30mm profile with exactly that length, so it fits in perfectly. Then of course you need for the side of the frame, you need 2 additional elements, 30 to 60mm. Of course, as I mentioned, that would be 540mm, that should be enough. And then of course you need some additional pieces like the angle elements to bring these aluminium profiles together. M6 screws, 12mm long. These nuts, so that they will go in here. And that's basically where you put on then the angles here. So there are different versions of these nuts. So if you are able to order like these nuts with a kind of a bearing in it, this is much simpler for doing the construction because they don't slide around. So if you put them in, they stay where they are. With this one, of course, if you already, you see, if you already put up part of the construction and you can't level it, so it's hard to keep it in place. So if you can, rather order this one. It's easier to build. And then of course there are some rather cosmetic elements that you can order as well, like these covers here. They go on the end here. For the larger aluminium profiles you would order the larger ones. I think there are also covers to cover the angle itself, but I haven't found that in the store I used. So, but that's certainly also a thing that you can at least beautify a little bit your construction. So regarding the order list, I can show you what I actually ordered. In my case, I used the store Motedis. That's in Europe, I think quite a common store to order these aluminium systems, profile systems. So at least you need these 4 pieces of the 30 to 30 millimeter profiles, as you can see, with this exact length that's needed for the P3. If you don't want to cut the profiles by yourself. Then of course the side parts, 30 to 60 millimeters. As you can see here, I did use the B-Typ Nut 8 version. I think there is also 2 or 3 other common versions that you could use. But you have to be careful to really order the right nuts and screws together, so that you really check that you have the same type also for the angles and for the covers and of course for the screws and the nuts. I would recommend that you order a little bit more, because you see these profiles, they are not very expensive. So if you have a spare part, that always helps to maybe improve or add some other things, like as you have seen, my shifter connection, or maybe also for a keyboard, whatever it would be. And you see it's fairly inexpensive, so including shipping I only paid around 80 Swiss francs. That would be maybe 70 euros or close to $80, so really not a big deal. Okay, so I hope this helped, and yeah, I wish you happy constructing. Bye.